Swati Bhattacharya, Chief Creative Officer of FCB Ulka, is one of the most celebrated creative professionals in our industry. Swati is known for magically connecting brands with human truths, and this is at the root of many of our award-winning campaigns. So it's great to have you talking with us, Swati. So tell us how the lockdown has been treating you.
So, the lockdown is now no longer like one phase, What we thought would be a chapter is now becoming a book. So I think, there are many, it's almost like different mood patterns have emerged. So I think in the beginning, we also had like an amazing spring. So one could enjoy nature and feel, yes, the earth is shrugging. Then came a phase when we had to actually confront that kind of the scale of suffering, So the whole, the migrants, we're calling them migrants, but basically the workers of India, that workforce, just to see them finding it so hard. And then, so for me, like in that phase, the heroes of India, like for me, people like Sonu Sood, I fell in love with Barkha Dutt again. So, that phase. Now at a phase where I'm staying, there are already 5 COVID positive people.
Oh.
So suddenly it's become closer. But one has also, one has walked from that alley of fear into an alley of understanding that what this whole thing is. We are dealing with microbes, it's like, so why hands have to be cleaned, why mask has to be worn, all that. And now, soon I'm sure we have to make that into a way of life. Like, 3-4 years back when I was in Tokyo, I was like amazed at just the number of people who are wearing masks. And it was such an alien thing for me. I've been in Singapore during the H1N1 thing, and I still couldn't bring myself to wear a mask all the time. So, but now I guess it's...
So during this period, there must have been moments of introspection where you must have sat down and, thought deeply. So what are the standout thoughts that emerge from the lockdown period for you?
So I think lots of thoughts, it has been a period of introspection. The entire thing, because how you are feeling, how you're adapting to these new things, how even like working from home, how do you feel connected to people without seeing them? So, even like I feel the quality of my conversations have improved hugely, because I think I had reached a point where my conversations were almost like staccato, like I had to quickly make a plan. Okay, when am I meeting you? Even with my closest girlfriends, and there was nothing. And now I think, I've become like a big conversation junkie, because I think I'm talking about my feelings. I'm talking about how I felt about that, because, my conversations no longer have, I did there, I went there. So I love the way I'm being able to focus on my feelings or other people's feelings, in a lot more organic and a lot more honest way. So I love that. I don't want to lose that post-COVID.
So the advertising industry is all about people getting together. You meet, ideate, you shoot and create and shoot ads, you hug, play, party together. It's all about being together. So how do you think the social and physical distancing is going to work in this industry?
So I must say we've taken to it pretty, like in terms of jamming together, is still happening. I personally have done 2 global pitches, and there were people from everywhere, and you never felt it. In fact, I'm now, so that was there. I was judging Andy's, which is New York Ad Club.
Okay.
And again, it's just like, oh my God, we can judge like that. Like there were discussions. So I must say technology has come to the party, and humanity has just taken. So I think, and it's a practice. More you do, the more easier it becomes. I think you have to, I feel there's a lot more honesty, I think, because, there's the meeting will end in 1 hour. And I might not be able to walk up to them and say, hey, listen. So there is no place for, so I think my feedback system is better, because I know I can't do that whole, be a little soft in the beginning, then go and be hard later. And so I'm learning, but it hasn't come in the way.
Did the creative process become difficult at any point? Did you feel like that?
No, because I think what is happening is we are practicing isolation. And as creative people, when we come to the Zoom call, we are bringing something that is, I think, better quality. Because what is happening is we're not being pushed in 10 different orders, So what happens is that thought that is cooking in your head, it's on a slow cooker. So by the time when they are telling me, or when I'm saying something to Susan, I've spent time with it. I've nourished it, with some silence, with some thinking. Because otherwise, sometimes you are only in that tick boxy thing, like 10 o'clock I have to do that, then 11 o'clock, then, So I think the quality has improved, but yes, this is still the first phase. I think, I don't know how the real juniors are feeling, because I'm also interacting mostly with senior people, I think the young ones who are like locked up in their barsati with a bad water cooler, and, I don't know how they are feeling about it.
So if you were to think of your own work over the last few months, what are the campaigns that or other work that you would like to call out, and what are the stories you can tell us from there? I can think of the Times Out and Proud campaign for one. You can tell us more.
Yes, so Times Out and Proud, I would still think is early, because it was last year, April. It's winning now, like, it's got like, I think 7 finalists. We don't know what pencil it'll get, but and now I think we got 2 more in DNAD, so yes, it's doing really well in shows. It got 2 golds in Andy, but that work happened in April. And after that, I think by the time it was Diwali, Dhanteras, Tridhan had happened, which was also like quite a riot. But post-COVID, what have I done? I mean, apart from the pitches, I think there was the launch of Horlicks with the Unilever logo was a very, so that's like a COVID piece of work. And what it again taught me the things that, it taught me a teamwork of a different kind, So here, when you're writing it, you won't be there at the shoot. When the director is coming to the PPM, the director won't be there with the cast. It's just everybody. And in a way, it says an amazing thing about human beings, that when you trust and you let go, there are bigger, better gifts you get than when you just, zero in a way. And that's an amazing lesson, actually, where I'm trusting the director, The directors trusting the cast who's going to shoot themselves, the cast is trusting the online person who'll make it together and not look, and we are all working in silos. So for me, that was like very, very interesting, and teaches you lots of things about how to work with others, without being overbearing.
So in what way do you see the post-COVID workplace evolving in your organization and elsewhere in the industry? All that travel, for instance, that,
The
was
client wants you
necessary.
at the meeting. Yeah. So, like, am I really needed? Because, client will feel good if you are there. So, those trips, which used to be like just pick your bag for one meeting, and then, so, for a while, I think all that will be gone. I think we're still toying, should we open up? IPG has said very strictly that we can't force anybody to come to work. And so then if it's voluntary, then how do we manage the numbers? Will it be a few of us who come on one day, and then the next day a few of us, so that, you minimize, these new terms I've learned, viral load? Or do we do that people come for few hours, and then, so there are many permutation combination. Then, India, the summer is so hot that a central air conditioning system becomes like a thing. So should we, then somebody said, if you put the air conditioning at 27 and keep a window open, will it be? So, and now to put all the systems for the art department, was a big thing to do, to transport it. So one has to be very sure, and we still don't know, is this the peak, or there'll be another peak? So I think a wait and watch, minimize risk, but also I know we all have to embrace this, and we have to learn this thing of distancing, mask, washing, and then embrace life.
So what is your sense of what is on the marketer's mind? I mean, do you think advertising will have to work doubly hard now to deliver results for the marketer, business results? And what do your clients tell you?
Some clients are like in the midst of the worst fear attack, because they feel that once you're just raised to the ground, because of, like, even if you take like Times of India, such a big client, such a big account, and now when you say, oh, their readership has only gone down by 50%, my condo doesn't allow newspapers to come in. Now that, what do you think that client is going through? Then you feel, okay, when people start thinking a little outside, dal, chawal, mosquito repellent, a floor cleaner, a hand sanitizer, then maybe people will start opening up. And advertising and products also is one way of feeling normal, just the desire to get that one something. So it's going to be quite a journey. And then, then there are my FMCG clients who are actually doing pretty well at this point, and so there are all kinds of moods I see in the boardroom.
By when do you think the advertising industry is going to get back to some semblance of normalcy? And what are the challenges you see now? What are the challenges you see going forward that you are likely to face?
See, by when, I don't know. The only person who knows what's happening or what's going to happen is Donald Trump. Because, the rest of us, we don't know. Like, I feel we're talking about COVID while you're waiting for a, typhoon to hit your town. Somebody's telling me, oh, the locusts are going to arrive. It's just, and then we are going to go into monsoon, which anyway is a time for viral infections. So the whole confusion, and now again also the confusion about, asymptomatic. So it's all like baptism through fire. Will we come out of it? Yes. And I think, coming out of something doesn't necessarily mean living without it, but an awareness of it, And I think as a country which has had chikungunya and tuberculosis has been such an epidemic and all those things, I think this is like a wake-up call, because the point is COVID is pretty okay with you if you don't have the other lifestyle diseases. So I think this is like how we deal with it, what we do, and how the government tries to focus on health and nutrition and all. And, I think whatever defense budget we have, it should just go into all this.
Talking of the advertising industry in particular, what are some of the things you think that we should be doing right now to kind of get over this, get back to normal, towards normal?
Advertising, mirrors society, and everything that's been going wrong with us is now coming to the fore. It's like the shit is rising to the top. So, while using brands, if we can clean up some of the muck, if we can stop othering, if we can stop fear mongering, you don't have to scare the mother into buying something, because remember, everybody will have less money. So think about what you're doing with her head. I'm appalled at the gender violence, numbers, and those are universal numbers. What can a brand do for that? So I think the relevance of a brand in a consumer's life is important, because what did you do for me during that time? Did you hold my hand, or were you just ignited one little matchstick like a WhatsApp forward? Did you increase your pricing in that time? Okay, did you bring it closer to me? Did you think of packaging and sizes that I can afford? What did you do for me proactively, so that it was like a COVID that we both went through? What is happening to families is happening to brands. And how we stand by each other is very, very important. We need to have a sense of community. We need to have a sense of wellness. We cannot have a emotional turgid time and hope that popping vitamin C is going to make us okay. Yeah. And brands can do that, So, so for me, there's a lot that we can do. And I think that when you're dealing with truths and the budgets don't matter, and this is a wake-up call, actually, So in a way, the marketing departments and the brands they're not, that they understand the magic of intimacy and how that is creative. There's so much that we can do.
So what positive outcomes from this period do you see being taken forward and into the working of the marketing and advertising industry going forward? There are positives also that I feel you must also feel. about this period? You just spoke of some of them. There is empathy, there is kindness, there is a lot more. What
Yeah,
do you see going forward?
yeah, I think, to what does eating an ice cream mean to a child in this? And you've cut away his friends, you've cut away. So there are, what does that tea or a coffee, uh, you know, what was that feeling when your part-timer came back? What was that sisterhood moment, And now that you truly realize what she brings to your life, are you ready to look at her salary a little differently? Because when your own family look, you think of like सारा दिन क्या करती है, 10 बजे तक हमारा काम खत्म हो जाता है, फिर तो वो बैठी रहती है, टीवी देखती है. Now the thing is, when you apply that to yourself, you understand what they do. So I would feel that the salary that I earn, it's made possible by someone. I need to, so those things have to, because now I think this is the time that why is it that such a big chunk of working community had no savings, that they couldn't stay for a month more. We have to think of those things, like, so why are we scared of that 2,000 rupee raise, but not scared of 3 muffins and 2 coffees and 1 soda costing that much? So there is, I've thought of that a lot deeply. I've thought a lot about, I had done this piece of work called Water Wives. And I do feel that that's what we do. We have people in our lives who we use as water wives, So I feel that government should step in, because if conscience alone is not making people look at, there has to be a bonus or a gratuity. You cannot be hand to mouth and then take this kind of upheaval, So I think all the fault lines in the society are clear to see. Also, I think that, so many people are putting up their ads and I feel, okay, you are feeling kindly, but is it converting into something? So for me, if Horlicks wasn't really giving those bottles to frontline staff and they just wanted to create this ad, and I think it's great that they didn't put that in their ad, but they were doing it. It takes me, it makes me take my job more seriously, because it's not just about, yes, I want to amuse you, and yes, I want to entertain you, but yes, I also want to connect with you. I don't know whether I've made sense. I've rambled.
No. What next from Swati Bhattacharya? What are you thinking of? What are you focusing on in the short term and long term?
I don't know. Maybe monkhood. I feel that I want to, so like for me, my themes in work have always been like love and gender and urban life, and there's so many stories in my head that I need to, it's in this whole thing where anything can happen, it has created an urgency in me that I didn't have, So I do want to, I do want to think a little bit more deeply on, what else can I do? What can I do without upsetting my workday. I have a very personal relationship with my brands. And I don't know how, maybe it's some kind of a madness, but for me, they really become like people in my lives. And I like to provoke intimacy using brands. So even in like present day India, where you can get lynched for eating beef, I could do a veg, non-veg film for Domino's. And it was my first film on that brand. But it was exciting that my, the marketing head allowed me to do that. And it's a very simple moment. But I want to do more of that, because I feel that there is I use my connection with women or with society, and the brand becomes like a catalyst, so that's my life with brands. And then I have a life without brands where I create short stories or documentaries. So yes, so I mean, I have all that now. I just hope I have those many years ahead of me, because the way things are going, everybody's looking at, mortality in a very different way.
No, I'm sure you have many, many more years, and that we will also look forward to. It's been wonderful talking to you, Swati. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I loved it too. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.